Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fresh Squeeze podcast. I'm Justin. I'll be your host here with Jeremy to tell more about his part 2 of the Japan trip.
Yes.
So, if you listened in last time, we heard all about the process of getting to the country and all about his experiences in the city of Tokyo.
Yep, that was a full 7 days, week 1 in Tokyo.
It was a big chunk of it, but there's still a whole nother chunk to talk about.
Yep.
And so we will be focusing in on the second of 3 main locations that he went to. So what location will we be talking about today?
So today's episode will be solely based on our second destination of the Japan trip, which was Kyoto.
Okay.
So Kyoto is about I'd say it's more in the middle of the country. So Tokyo is on the very, eastern side of Japan, where Kyoto is more centralized.
Okay.
So, after we spent our first, week in Tokyo, we decided, we had planned that. So, even though you could have easily spent 2 weeks in Tokyo, we wanted to break it up and see some more things.
Right.
So after a week, we packed up, and then we were off to our next destination of Kyoto, which, so the travel there, since it's a pretty substantial pretty substantial distance, we had a couple choices, but it turned out to be obvious. So we could either take a normal train there, and it would take, roughly 15 hours.
Oh, yikes, yeah.
Or we could take the bullet train or the Shinkansen, and it could take, I think it was like 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So we obviously chose the bullet train. And
I didn't realize that it was that much of a difference, and it was that much of a distance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact distance in miles, but I think I looked up, and most bullet trains in Japan can go, upwards of 200 plus miles an hour. So you're cruising, because whenever I looked out the window, we were always just flying past things.
That's right. Wow.
So it was really cool. So after we took the bullet train there, we arrived in Kyoto, and so this was, what day was it that we arrived? We arrived on October 23rd.
Okay, so approximately 7 or...
So approximately 7,
maybe
8-ish days, not counting the first travel day. So we arrived there. We find our way to our little hotel, which was a lot. I mean, if you thought, from what, at least, I don't remember if we had any pictures, but if you thought the idea of my hotel we had in Tokyo was small, this one I think was even smaller.
Yeah.
Let's just say we had a hard time fitting all 5 of us, and then we were like, okay, we are never staying something this small ever again. It was way too small.
Well, probably just enough beds for everybody, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much. Because with the Tokyo one, it was there was like a loft bed, so it was higher ceilings, multi-level, so it made it seem bigger. This one, it was just one. This reminded me of just like a typical hotel room in America.
Okay.
But there was one bed, maybe equivalent of maybe a queen size bed here, and then there was a medium sized L-shaped couch, and then a chair. Okay.
Okay.
So that's all there was to sleep on.
I see.
The chair pulled out, and then 2 of us had to sleep on the couch. So but I'll get to that later. So we're in Kyoto, and I think it was our very first. We had just gotten there. We were like, let's not waste time. Let's start doing things.
You got there in the morning.
Yeah, so it looks like we got there just in the afternoon. It looks like it was about 1:40 when we got there. Well, when we got to there, we didn't actually end up getting to our hotel until about almost 4.
This is 4 in the morning?
No, afternoon.
Oh.
Afternoon.
So yeah, it's midday.
Yeah. So we were like, well, let's just start doing things. So it was really cool in Kyoto, because obviously in Tokyo, it's very big city, lots of buildings, very, modern.
That's what we expect.
Yeah. And now, although Kyoto is also, they still have a city center. There's still tall buildings. There's still, I wouldn't say there's any skyscrapers as big as Tokyo, but there's still, tall buildings. But Kyoto is integrated their more modern urban style city with the old traditional and what people imagine Kyoto, the old traditional like buildings and stuff like that. So
Sure.
it's really cool because like all the little small alleys and stuff that are all super old, which is the architecture of like the buildings is really cool. So the first place we went to, it's called Kiyomizu-dera, and it's this really old like temple site that dated back from like the 700s,
Wow.
so it's been there for super long time, and it was really cool because not only one was it probably the coolest, like I'll call it a historical site
Mm-hmm.
that we had been to yet. The other reason why we wanted to go to this is, for anyone who's ever played the game Overwatch, there is a map in the game that is based off of this location.
Okay, I see.
Not the whole part, but there's a certain part of the map and it looks basically like, I'd say close enough like a 1-for-1 recreation in the game. And it was really cool to like actually see this place in real life after playing the game for so long.
Sure.
So that was a really cool part. For those wondering, it's who have played the game, it's the Hanamura map on the second point. Anyway,
There you go. Okay,
so those who
that.
know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was really cool because not only was it was huge, it was
Because is it just like is it like one temple structure, or is it a series of
it was
like,
a series. So
structures?
it was one. There was like one of these more pagoda type buildings, but
Yeah.
then there was other larger, bigger buildings, and the best part was,
Is that the one that kind of had like the balcony overlook?
Yeah. So, and the best part about this place was we went there at like sunset,
Yeah, that's nice.
which was so beautiful. And there was this whole upper section where you enter. There was this big lower section where you could walk down this trail and kind of down the mountain, but then you had to walk up a ton of stairs to get back up.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, we went there at sunset, and it was like just like it was so serene and so beautiful. I got some really cool pictures of it, which we'll throw in for the YouTube segment,
Yeah.
so everyone can see them. So, I mean, with that being our very first day, it was a pretty awesome, like that was a pretty big one to check off like immediately when we got there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it seems like compared to those pictures, obviously that's like a really great like picturesque site.
Oh, very, yeah.
And compared to even the traditional buildings that you saw in Tokyo, how you said that there were similar ones, maybe not as big, also integrated into the city.
Yeah.
Where this was the more.
There was nothing of this scale. Like these were all bigger than the
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Because obviously Tokyo, I mean, while there was, like you said, like Sensoji and places like that, there were these places in Tokyo, but since there's not as much space, since the city is so cramped, and large, there wasn't enough space. But out here in Kyoto, unlike Tokyo, it's very mountainous and more open.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more space for these kind of places to just be sprawled out and really take up a lot of place, which is really awesome.
Yeah, so that's really nice.
And it was cool because after we went up on the mountain at that place, saw the sunset, and came back down, like the whole city, like the whole strip of road that's right in front of it is all of these little shops, whether it's like, just like little random, street food vendor shops.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, little gift shops, souvenir shops, all these little tiny places. It was a really cool setting. Again, all these old traditional buildings, just like, side by side, how you would imagine.
Yeah.
And now, for those who don't know, Japan is very, is known for their very popular flavor of matcha. And I had never had anything matcha. Obviously, people have like matcha lattes here and matcha
And
stuff.
matcha tea
Yeah,
or whatever.
But I had never had anything matcha flavored before. So trying it in Kyoto was my very first time. And I went to this like little street food vendor that was selling ice cream, and I had some matcha ice cream, and it was surprisingly really good.
It's funny, like it has great presentation.
Yeah.
But it also almost just kind of looks like a wasabi ball or something.
I mean, the ice cream is green. Yeah, it literally looks like wasabi, but it's not spicy, but it just tastes really good. And I was like, I could get down with this. Tons of stuff there is wasabi, not wasabi, is matcha flavored.
Because I guess I don't really know. Is there a specific taste to it?
Yeah, let me look.
Like, how it looks is obviously
Yeah.
going to be a little different to how it actually is.
Yeah, so, okay, I had to look it up. Because Google says matcha is finely ground powder of specially grown and processed green tea leaves. So it's green tea leaves, but they're just, mashed up and ground.
That makes sense.
So, but it was really good.
Didn't your friends say that everywhere you went, you ended up getting ice cream at a vendor?
Oh, 100. Okay, no, you can ask any of the boys that went, and they will tell you that pretty much any time there was an ice cream vendor, I was like, ice cream stop, time to get some, and it got to the point where I wouldn't even see one. They'd be like pointing out, be like, oh, Jeremy, ice cream? Sure you don't want any? Or sure you don't? I'd be like, I'm good right now. Thank you. But no, I did have a ton of ice cream while I was there. Because it was like, so like I could literally get a cone like this for like, I don't know, maybe like 300 yen, which would be like $2, and it's some of the best ice cream I've ever had.
It's so unique looking.
Yeah.
You're not just getting run of the mill stuff.
No, I'm not getting, a Blizzard or something. Nothing, or just it's some great stuff, they have great ice cream over there. What can I say? And on the topic of food, I believe it was that night. Yeah, so that night, so our very first meal we had in Kyoto is this dish. It's actually, I think the dish is known, like originated in Hiroshima, but Kyoto has like its own version. It's called okonomiyaki. Okay. And what it is it's basically like, imagine like a dinner pancake. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I mean,
I love breakfast for dinner, so
but it's not breakfast food.
You're right. Okay.
And I mean, when I say pancake, everyone's obviously is gonna think like, round. I say pancake, but it's really just like a mass of grilled food. Because
is it like a is it based within some sort of like baked or
it's baked
wheat thing
in like potato.
Oh,
so it's
potato.
It's probably closer to hash browns. So imagine just a giant mass of hash browns.
Yeah.
Mass of hash browns. Okay. And what they do is, so you order it, and then they give it, and then they bring it out to you. But then, the table that you sit at has a big, like stovetop on top of it, and so you keep it on there and to slightly cook it, but also keep it warm, and you just eat it off of that.
Yeah.
Because they give you almost like these like not spatulas, but like those, I don't know. Actually, they're kind of like spatulas, so you can like cut it and eat it. And for example, mine had, it had, so there was like potatoes, there was like vegetables. I chose mine to have shrimp inside of it. It's not barbecue sauce that's on top of it, but it's probably this other sort of like teriyaki sauce that was drizzled all over it. It's fried. It's fantastic. You can cut it up, eat it with the chopsticks. It's amazing. So I definitely recommend it.
I'm very intrigued by it. I still, even though I'm seeing pictures of it, I almost still can't like.
It's hard
kind
to
of understand what it is.
There is not a single thing in America that I can like compare it to, so it's hard to explain it.
Yeah.
Like, this is nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, no, we don't have anything like maybe loaded hash browns is as close as you can get to it, but that's still breakfast food, and that's, so it's like, but this isn't breakfast,
and
this
it like
is dinner.
didn't like seem like a breakfast food.
No, this is 100% dinner food.
Yeah, you're like this is a good
and they have
party dinner meal.
Yeah, and they had tons of variations. Like, I just chose to get the shrimp one because I love shrimp, but they had tons of different flavors and different styles and types. And this is just the Kyoto version. I mean, obviously we weren't in Hiroshima, but I'm pretty sure that's where it originated. Don't quote me on that, but I just know that they also have a really popular version over there. So everywhere has like its own spin on that food. So,
I think it's interesting. Obviously not just the variety and difference of the food, but the way that it's prepared and served. Like, you've got not just the way that they make and prepare the sushi and the fish or whatever, but like the way that you've got these stovetop tables, or you've got the what do you call those pots that you cook them in, and then eat out of.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just think it's interesting how different it is that you can all of this preparation while you're and cooking while you're eating it in a restaurant setting.
I mean, I've heard some people say that like the reason they don't like things like Korean like hot pot or stuff like this is they're like, why would I want to go somewhere and cook my food myself? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? But it's like, obviously there are some places where they bring you out the meat and cook it yourself, and we did that. But in this place, it was more or less, it was already cooked and made, but it's just you keep it on there to keep it warm.
Okay.
And but also, I mean, I don't have an issue with technically cooking it yourself, because then you can get it how you want, as much as you want. So
No, yeah,
anyway,
I like the idea. It's novelty.
Yeah, but all the dining experiences over there are just completely different, which was just so awesome. So that kind of wrapped up our first day. It was a pretty busy day, from between half the day traveling.
Oh, for sure. Sounds like it.
Yeah. So the next day, it was funny. We had to try it at least once, especially because I'll name drop here. Noah wanted to do it at least once. We ate McDonald's there, okay, for breakfast.
Yeah.
So every time we passed a McDonald's in Tokyo, he'd be like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta try it." We'd be like, "Dude, we're not eating at McDonald's for dinner, like when we're in Japan, you know what I mean?
Not for dinner.
No, we're not just gonna go get some chicken, a 20-piece nugget, and so we're like, no. But we were like, okay, it's the morning time, we'll get breakfast, because we usually didn't really eat that much breakfast. We'd just get something from the convenience store.
Yeah.
But we're like, fine, we'll sit down, we'll have a little breakfast before we go out for the day. So yeah.
So what was that like?
So we did go to a McDonald's in Kyoto, and it's funny because, I mean, it's exactly how you picture a McDonald's in America. It's pretty much the same in Japan, just not as gross. So there's some gross McDonald's. I mean, it's still very clean since it's Japan. But it's funny because they still have a lot of the same things.
It's probably a similar experience, but with just some differences.
Obviously. Yeah, no. Like I could still very much tell, be like, oh yeah, I'm in a McDonald's right now. But it still felt like I was in like a different restaurant. You know what I mean?
I can order what I expect, but I could also find something new.
Yeah, like I could have gotten, probably a Big Mac and been fine, but I could also do something else,
It might have still tasted different.
Yeah.
Though.
So what I did end up getting, I got just like I'm pretty sure I just got a sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin.
Mm-hmm.
Classic meal right there. I got, I think I got some orange juice, but then what was interesting was their combos are different than our combos. So for example,
the breakfast combo.
Yeah, so here, like with my sandwich came a 4-piece nugget.
As opposed
as a
breakfast side.
In this photo, it is 7:50 in the morning, okay? And so this is still very much breakfast time, okay?
Man,
I ate a sausage, egg McMuffin and a 4-piece nugget for breakfast,
4-piece
okay?
Nugget and orange juice.
Yeah, because when the guy asked me, he was like, he asked me what sauce do I want, and I was like,
you're like, for what?
I was like, sauce, and he was like, yeah, for the nuggets, and I was like, oh, and then he didn't actually say yeah. I think he just pointed at the, obviously language difference, but he wasn't like, yeah, man, the nuggets, But I'm pretty sure he was pointing at the nuggets, and I was like, oh, and I realized, oh my gosh, this comes with nuggets. So then he asked me what sauce I wanted, and he was saying, he was pointing at the 3 different sauces. Actually, this guy spoke to me, so which was good, because he was like, which sauce do you want? And he was like, we have barbecue sauce, we have, I don't know if it was like some honey mustard. Then he was like, then we have this specialty Szechuan sauce.
Oh,
that they obviously don't have in America. And I was like, what's this one like? And he was like, it's kind of spicy. And I was like, I'll take this one.
Okay.
And it was pretty good, So I got my meal, I got my, so I mean, I'll be honest, the nuggets taste exactly the same as they do here. So
wow.
At least if you've never been anywhere, like if you've never been out of the country before, at least in Japan, the chicken nuggets taste the same. So we're good there.
That's good to know.
That's one and done. So anyway, past McDonald's. This was probably, I think, one of the most physically exhausting days of the whole entire trip. This day that we had.
Really? Okay.
Maybe, I'm going to be honest, maybe this wasn't the best day for us to get McDonald's for breakfast. Because
probably didn't do it for you.
Yeah, let's just say later on the day we were like, maybe that wasn't a good idea. That's TMI, so we'll get past that. So, so the like really big ticket item we did that day in Kyoto, I'm sure everyone's seen it. I talked about, the red torii gates that you see around Japan. But this place in Japan, in Kyoto, it's called Fushimi Inari, okay? And this is the place that has, you might have seen pictures where there's just like back-to-back hundreds and hundreds of those red gates to walk through.
Right.
And it's basically, it was probably this like hill/mountain, okay?
Okay, yes.
And they go like, not exactly in a circle, but they pretty much go all up it, And so I think there's like 10,000 in total across the whole mountain, the whole, area. And we decided, well, let's go walk it, So, and we'll put pictures because it's a really cool like place, So we're just walking and it's just nonstop. Like you're walking basically in a tunnel of gates. Like they're just so close back to back. Like aesthetically and for like pictures, it was so cool. It's a very big tourist thing. And what was nice about this, and I will always be so grateful for the time that we went, is because the country had just opened, 10 days prior. There was not that many people there, so there was like, and we were there by like before 9 a.m. And so there was like barely anybody there.
So a lot of open space.
Yes, and I had, even before the trip we had went, I had heard that in the past, since this is such a, really high ticket like tourist thing, it's usually so packed and crowded that obviously you can't take any nice pictures without having 5,000 people in the background, you know what I mean? But we got these like really cool shots and of like the whole tunnel of gates. We only ended up coming across a couple other like foreigners that were traveling as well. So it was really cool because I've heard now that places like this are just like shoulder to shoulder packed, and it's like that's not fun and enjoyable,
Yeah,
and so it was a lot more peaceful.
Really cool that you were able to do that.
Something that's crazy was this path was so long, okay, and I was wearing pants and a t-shirt, and I was like, oh my gosh. I think this was the day that I decided that I needed to buy some shorts, because I was like, I'm burning up, okay? And I drank all my water already, and I was exhausted by the time we got up there. We kept having to take breaks because we were all so exhausted trying to get up this hill. Because it was just like nonstop stairs, like straight up. And
was this more intensive than the previous place where you had the stairs?
Oh, at the island Enoshima? Yeah, because that was just that. That was a lot, but we'd already done stuff all throughout the day. That was more or less, I think I was just exhausted from the rest of the day that we had done already. Yeah. But I took a screenshot of my activity on my phone, and this screenshot was taken at 9:12 a.m. It's 9:12 a.m., okay? Yeah. And we had already walked 11 miles.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you believe that?
No.
We had walked 11 miles and already done 25,000 steps, okay?
By 9 a.m.?
Okay? That's how... I got some fantastic pictures, and it was an awesome experience.
And it's completely barren.
Completely empty, and these... not all these, but, like, there's either be a few people or just, my group of friends.
That's awesome.
And it was just fantastic, and we have pictures. You couldn't totally see the city, but you could tell you were pretty high up, and this wasn't even the highest point, Actually, one point we went the wrong way and we started climbing down. We're like, wait, we're going down. What are we doing? So we had to turn around and then go back up.
Obviously, you could say the effort was worth it.
Yeah.
And the time of going.
Oh, 100%. So I'm sure if I were to go back, it would just be unreasonably packed. By the time we got to the top, I was sweaty and I was like, okay, let's go back down. So. But it wasn't that. It was totally worth it, though. I loved every minute of it.
Awesome.
And then, this was a pretty big day because after we left the Fushimi Inari gates, we took a train over to Arashiyama, which was where the bamboo forest was.
Oh, yes.
That was
a highlight.
Really
too.
Sweet spot.
I think these are so cool.
I've never experienced anything like this. It was imagine a forest, like, you're just walking through any, like, national parks here, but literally instead of, like, I don't think there was a single normal tree. Everything was a bamboo shoot going up,
That's crazy.
And these things are just, like, towering over us. They're waving a little bit in the winds. It was a pretty nice day, too, and it was just really awesome, just, like, walk through just nothing but bamboo in this forest, and
it's a relatively dense forest.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's not like there's there's a couple of them over here. No, it's like it's kind of packed in there with all these bamboo. So that was really awesome. I think it was got some cool pictures, and it's pretty dense through there. So it was really awesome to see. But then what I liked was, like, halfway through there was, like, we found this trail. It was like it kind of took you out of the bamboo forest to this little, like, tea house randomly. And it was like, pay $2 and go to the tea house. We were like, oh heck yeah,
let's go.
Well, plus it started to, like, drizzle, so we were like, all right, so yeah, we randomly up this like path up this mountain, or like this hill. All of a sudden there's an opening. Boom, random little traditional tea house. We go in there. You sit on the little mats with the little short tables. All of a sudden, this woman comes over and she brings us this, like, these little cups of green tea and these little, like, I don't think it was chocolate, but these little, like, sweet flavored, I don't know, cracker things.
Sweet sticks?
Yeah, dude, they were something, and we were just like, where did this even come from?
That's hilarious.
5 minutes ago we were in the bamboo forest, now we're in a tea house, so it was cool. And then after we left there was actually this whole, like, path garden area, with, like, I don't know, the pictures I got here, the views, like, crazy. Everything's so green.
Oh man.
And then I found this cool little, like, rock path to this little, like, old house, and then we found this like giant, like, valley. We got to the edge of the mountain. There was this huge valley, like, totally, all greenery and stuff, which was really awesome. So that was, I think that was definitely one of my favorite parts of Kyoto so far.
Yeah, that definitely sounds cool.
Yeah. If you couldn't already tell, pretty much all of our things we did in Kyoto was like 100% outdoor things, versus in Tokyo, like I said, very city. Whereas Kyoto, all the best things to do in Kyoto are outside the city, because it's like, I mean, that's what you do in Kyoto. You see all that outdoor nature stuff.
Yeah, I see the contrast.
Yeah.
And, the city experience for sure.
Yeah. What else? We actually found this cool little just outside the bamboo forest in the little town there. There was this cool little coffee shop that we went to that had this little balcony. We were just drinking some coffee up there afterwards. It was nice. It was pretty peaceful. And okay, if you're somebody who struggles to order coffee from, like, Starbucks in America, okay, I had to figure out how to order coffee that I actually wanted in Japan. Okay, it was not that easy.
Are their coffees complicated, or are they simplified?
Well, it's I mean, it's still the same.
It's the
well,
same.
I mean, like,
depending on where you go.
Let's say here you don't know the difference between, this type of coffee and that type of coffee, but then you're like, okay, I still don't know the difference, and I still don't know how to tell you what I want. But but like I said, thankfully everywhere pretty much had menus, just like, point this, yes, I want this, yes, I want this.
Right.
Anyway,
okay.
But we had some coffee on this little balcony, which was pretty cool. And then I think this is I actually don't even know if this was a super late lunch or early dinner. But we went to this cool restaurant. It was like, it was like on a river, and then there was like a mountain in the background.
Wow.
With this river, and it had, like, super good reviews, so we went there, and obviously it was fantastic, because I had this ramen, and I had duck for the first time. Okay, there was duck in the ramen.
Okay,
and let me tell you, duck was pretty good. I don't know if it's the same over here, but I don't know what kind of ducks they got, but but they need to keep on doing it, because that was some good stuff. We had some other things, like we went to some really nice, like some of those like Zen gardens in Kyoto, which is
Mhm.
obviously very.
Got to.
You got to if you're there. We went to some awesome places. I will tell this story because everybody told this story too thinks it's funny. Okay, so after we went to the garden in Kyoto, there was this little restaurant outside where and it was like 12:30, so it was lunchtime. We were like, I'm hungry. So we went to this place. We ordered our food, and it was cool because like our food came in this like little wagon,
Yeah.
which was awesome. So we walked in and I saw some of this and I said, I want the wagon meal. I don't know what it is, but I want it, And then, so it was really, it was like, some meat, some eggs, some, all the stuff that we had loved so far. But then, I was looking at the drink menu, and I was like, well, it's too early to have any beverages, since it's only noon. And I was like, and there were some other things. I was like, well, let's try something different.
Sure.
Okay. Now, okay. I can confidently say that after eating out for pretty much every single meal the entire trip, I only had one thing that I would not get again. Okay, and it was the drink that I got with this meal. Okay.
Hey, if I'd say for the entire time, that's not bad.
Let me explain to you what this drink was. Okay. So the woman that was taking the order, because you had to order at the counter and then go to your seat. So I tell her which meal I want, and then I'm looking at the drinks, and I tried to ask her what this one drink was, and she told me that it's a very popular traditional like Japanese drink, and I was like, okay. And she was like, she said it's sweet. And I was like, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. Okay, so I ordered one of those. And then I had no idea what even to expect. I was expecting maybe some tea, maybe like some lemonade type deal. I don't know what I was thinking. But so she brings it out, and I take a look at this thing, and I'm like, what the heck did I order? So she brings it out, and I mean, you might be grossed out by this, but the only way I can describe it is like, imagine you drank oatmeal, okay?
Oh.
But it wasn't that thick. So it was a rice drink, okay? Because obviously everything there, they use rice for everything.
And it's not like you said it's basically chunky, right?
Yeah. So imagine, the drink that I was having was chunky, okay? Because I couldn't even tell you what the liquid was, but there was all this. Okay, no, actually, I don't even know if I've used this word to describe it yet. Imagine you drank some water, you took a bite of rice, maybe like some cinnamon in it, chewed it up, and then spit it back out into the cup. That's what it looks like, because it's kind of like brownish, and there was just chunks in it, and it was sweet. So I drank it, and the boys were like, "So what do you think?" And I was like, it's all right, it's all right.
But then you're like, yeah, that's the same for me.
So then I take another drink, and in my mind, I'm just like, this is really not good. I'm surprised this is so popular. But then I look around, okay?
No.
Obviously, everyone else in this place is a local, okay?
Yeah.
We're the only foreigners in there at the time. Everyone else is Japanese. I look around. I didn't see a single person drinking this drink.
Nah.
I'm like, what are you telling me that this is a popular drink, dog? Nobody in this entire establishment is drinking this but me.
I think she misused the term.
Yeah, maybe. I don't blame her, but I was like, I look around and I'm like, there's not a single Japanese person drinking this drink right now. Yeah. So I took like 2 more sips, and I was just like, that's it. I can't do it. It was so nasty. Like, oh, why do you want a chunky rice drink?
No.
Oh, it's so wrong.
I guess it may be traditional, but that doesn't make it...
well, I think some traditions need to die, okay? Because that one was terrible. Anyway, so, but the lunch was good. The meal was fantastic. But
very nice.
Then I think, so the next thing we kind of did in Kyoto...
Because is this still into day 2 or day 3?
This would be, let me go back to the beginning. So we let's see, we got there on like the 23rd, because we were only in Kyoto for 3 days.
For 3 days, okay.
So I think this next thing that I'm going to talk about is actually going into the final day.
Going into the final day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because obviously we tried to do as much as we could in Kyoto, but obviously we only had 3 days compared to the 7 days we had in
Right.
Tokyo. So we could only do so much. So the final thing we did in Kyoto was, I mean, obviously we did some small things during the day, just walked around the town, doing some sightseeing. Excuse me, but the final thing, which is probably one of the biggest, most popular places in Kyoto, is there's this I think it's called the Gion district. Let me just look it up real quick. Gion district, Kyoto. Let's see. Yes.
Is that city, or is that
Yeah,
uh,
it's like
still more outside of?
no,
Uh,
it's pretty downtown. It's pretty centralized in Kyoto. But what this place is popular for is this is the like traditional section of Kyoto.
Oh,
Like
okay,
everything is wooden. We actually we unfortunately weren't able to find a seat because it was so busy, but we found a Starbucks
yeah.
that was in like an old traditional building.
Right.
So it was really cool, but it
yeah,
was,
old building, but the Starbucks logo
yeah,
on
so
it.
it was kind of cool, but it was too busy, so we didn't get to go there. And this place is also very popular. Well, the street food was fantastic here, but also there's this one street that I'm sure if you Google Japan or Google Kyoto, you'll see pictures of this street. It's like the most picturesque street there is. It's like this curvy road, with all these old buildings and shops, but then just off in the distance, you can see the tip of this pagoda building. Super famous, and we were like, we've got to find this spot. And it took a while. We kept going down the wrong streets because it's just like one street,
Yeah, it's just one
It's just
long,
one
narrow
street.
street. Okay.
and we couldn't find it, and we almost gave up. We were like, dude, Google Maps is acting up, we can't find it, but then I don't know how we found it, but we did. And I'd say it was worth it. And especially we stayed till sunset, so we got some pretty cool pictures of me and the boys there, because we got some people to take some pictures for us, and it's just a really cool spot. You can be like, hey, look, we've been there.
Yeah.
It's funny, at one point my phone wallpaper was this street, but now I have a picture of me standing on this street, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. And like when I say this is popular, it's because there was like people with like big expensive cameras waiting because it was going to be sunset, so they're waiting to get their big sunset pics of the pagoda in the background and stuff like that. So that was a really awesome spot.
Nice.
I'm just glad we got pictures because my phone was like dead at this point. I had like 1% left, and I had forgot my portable charger back at the hotel. I was like, oh my gosh, so, but thankfully the boys had their phone and theirs wasn't dead. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I really glossed over anything. That pretty much sums up our trip to Kyoto. Like I said, it wasn't as long since we took a lot of time for Tokyo, but we also wanted more time in Osaka since there was definitely more to do in Osaka.
Yeah, that was only a third way through, and I mean, you did. It seems like for the time you were there, you still maximized your time.
Oh yeah, we definitely hit all the big ticket items that we wanted
You
to
still
while we
saw
were
some
in
major
Kyoto.
highlights.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that about sums up the Kyoto
Cool.
experience.
Yeah. See, I like seeing how, like you said, you could have stayed in Tokyo the entire time.
Oh,
or,
yeah,
or you
definitely.
could have gone to other places, but it's nice that you got these, I guess you could say, not just different cultural experiences, different living and city versus the rural sites, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice. Well, I glad to be able to hear more about the trip, and as we unravel the adventures that you took, I'm even getting to hear even more than what you had told me initially.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Getting to hear more about it and get to see more pictures is definitely cool. So once again, we'll remind if anybody wants to follow along on YouTube, we will be putting up pictures so you can fully immerse yourself in everything that we are describing here.
Yep.
So I guess that will wrap up the discussion on Kyoto today. And you can look forward to next time talking about the final part of the trip, which we will plan on doing soon after this episode. So we hope you did enjoy that, and we look forward to our next discussion. So we'll see you next time on the next episode.